Right now, breaking news on News Channel 8.
Tonight, new information in this breaking news. This in the mystery in Wfla. 4 people found shot dead in a burning mansion. Also in that house, lots of fireworks. Tonight, we know who bought them and where. Good evening. I'm Keith Kate.
I'm Gail Sierens. Thank you for joining us this evening. There is breaking information in the mystery in Wfla. The sheriff's office just held a news conference. We now know that all 4 people were shot, and we have new information about what the father, Darren Campbell, purchased just days ago. We have 8 on your side team coverage with these new developments. Lauren Make has reaction from a family member, but we get things started with Candace McCowan and the investigation. Candace?
Gail, as you said, those 4 people were shot. They also would not tell us where they were shot. They also found a gun inside of that home they say was registered to Darren Campbell. They're also telling us about Darren Campbell that he purchased an exceedingly high amount of fireworks and gas cans days before the fire. New video showing Darren Campbell at Phantom Fireworks Sunday morning. He walked in just after they opened at 9. 30 minutes later, he was gone.
Seemed like an average Joe. Just came in, showed interest in what he wanted to purchase, and that was it.
$652 worth of fireworks. This is the purchase that Phantom Fireworks officials say that Darren Campbell made Sunday morning. Essence of Fire Voodoo Devils possibly answering some questions. Fireworks were found in the home along with 4 bodies. The dead are believed to be the Campbells, Darren, wife Kimberly, son and daughter.
Our company as a whole, looked into the situation as they were presented with the news as well.
For their neighbors in their exclusive community, they're disturbed.
Explosions, explosions, and 2 kids.
Others looking for peace.
My wife had a couple of neighborhood ladies over for a prayer vigil last night to pray for the friends of the family and people that have suffered a loss.
All wanting to know what happened before this home burned, some now thinking back to what they know about the Campbells.
The daughter on various walks in the neighborhood, and she was just, a beautiful person.
Maybe we're still had those big question marks.
Yeah, and investigators telling us that they spent much of the day combing through evidence at that home, but they also spent part of the day at the medical examiner's office. They tell us that they still don't have a positive identification on those victims, but that they're using DNA and dental records to try and get to the bottom of who they are. Of course, the story is developing, and we'll bring you more as it continues to develop.
And a tragic story it is. Indeed, Candace. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Gail.
We are learning more about the family at the center of this tragic mystery, the Campbells, and we're finding out about the life they had before things went terribly wrong in Wfla. Our team coverage continues tonight with Lauren Make. She is joining us live from Carrollwood Day School. Lauren.
Okay, this school was a big part of the Campbell family's lives. A trauma response team was out here to help today, but just imagine how the family is coping. I spoke today to Kim Campbell's father, who describes his daughter as artistic and a stay-at-home mom devoted to her family. The shock in Wfla spread to the school where the Campbell kids were students, and all the way to their grandfather in Michigan, who got the word when his son called.
He said, "Dad, are you standing up?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, sit down." And I said, "I got some bad news for you." I said, "What's that, David?" He said, "All Kim's family are gone."
His daughter, Kim Campbell, and her family were renting this home. There was her husband, Darren, daughter, Megan, and son, Colin, a teenage baseball player.
My grandson was an excellent baseball player. I someday thought I might see him in the pro ranks.
They had, it seems, been living a good life. Well known at Carrollwood Day School, where Darren was treasurer of the board. He'd held some corporate jobs, making good money. Took a year off at one point, his father-in-law remembers. His latest job was here at Vastec, where he was chief operating officer. A statement from the document imaging company reads, "This is a difficult time for all involved, and we are trying to cope with this news. We extend our heartfelt sympathies to friends and family members during this time of grief." For family, it is unthinkable.
It's difficult. I'll put it that way, but I know that they're with the Lord. That's all I can ask.
Gordon Lambie and his wife in Michigan are in their 80s, and they are grieving. He says that He doesn't know that they had any money problems, doesn't know what could have possibly gone wrong here, but something, Keith, something clearly did.
Oh, you certainly feel for him and everyone involved in that family and the friends. Just awful. Thank you, Lauren. Here once again a recap of our breaking news. We have just learned that all 4 people found dead in that Wfla home were shot. A firearm registered to Darren Campbell was found in the house. Before the fire, Mr. Campbell had also purchased several gas cans and more than $600 worth of fireworks. We also just learned that the fireworks were spread throughout that house. In between our newscast, you can go to WFLA.com for all the new information in this case. There is a story on our homepage.
And now an update on breaking news we have for you out of Sarasota. The manhunt is now over for a burglary suspect who hit a deputy with his SUV. Deputies say earlier today, a man and a woman stole bicycles from a home on Maiden Lane. When confronted by the homeowner, the male suspect punched him. Then the suspect hit a deputy with his SUV. The deputy will be okay. The female suspect was arrested quickly, but the man escaped. Police and deputies descended on the neighborhood to find them, and eventually the suspect was found hiding behind a bush. A Hernando County man is hospitalized after being shot by deputies. The shooting happened in front of a mobile home on a private dirt road off California Street. 69-year-old James Palmer lived there. He called the sheriff's office and told them he was about to be evicted and that he was going to set the home on fire. When deputies arrived, the house was burning, and they tell us Palmer confronted them with a weapon. 2 deputies shot him. Palmer is hospitalized with life-threatening injuries, and those deputies are on administrative leave while the FDLE investigates. Well, millions of gallons of untreated wastewater flowed into Tampa Bay on Friday.
Yeah, the city's been quietly trying to clean all of this up. 8 on Your Side investigator Shannon Bankin discovered last Friday's storm was just too much for Tampa's aging water treatment equipment to handle.
7 to 9 million gallons of untreated wastewater. We're talking storm runoff and debris, the stuff that washes down your drain when you do the dishes. Even raw sewage. It poured over this wall, into the street, and eventually into Tampa Bay.
We had the entire department mobilized, either making repairs, trying to control flow throughout the collection system, or making cleanup efforts.
Anthony Casper, director of Tampa's water treatment plant, explains Friday's disaster as one of the largest wastewater spills in Tampa's history.
We had personnel manually pulling debris off of the rakes themselves, the screens themselves, so that we could free up the screens, get them working again, and then reopen the flow.
The problem started here. One of the screens that removes debris from the water broke, so the other 2 screens had to do double duty. At the same time, Friday's storm hit, and the screens couldn't handle the extra water. When they also broke down, the water was trapped in this building and eventually overflowed. This model shows how it's supposed to work.
The water was not able to get from here through that building to the rest of the treatment process.
The city says the water quality was slightly impacted on Friday, but by Sunday, everything was back to normal, and now there are no safety concerns. Even though it sounds disgusting, Casper insists the public was never in danger.
While it sounds like a tremendous amount of water that did come out here, and it was a huge concern for us, proportionally speaking, it's a drop in the bucket for the Bay.
In Tampa, Shannon Bankin, 8 on Your Side.
But still, right? City officials tell us this is unlikely to ever happen again. The city's about to launch a new system that will replace those screens with more efficient ones.
He collapsed during PE class and almost died. Well, today, this thankful South Tampa teen returned to school, and coming up next, what he has to say about his near-death experience. Plus, the countdown is on to tonight's NFL draft. So, who are the Bucs going to pick? Dan Lucas will join us live from New York later in sports.
At 90-degree temperature, the first one since last October. Believe it or not, temperatures are warming up. Rain chances still fairly low, but they're there. We'll look at your weekend forecast coming up.
A Plant High School freshman is bringing new meaning to the term comeback kid. Charlie Curtis collapsed on Plant High School's track last week during PE class. The school nurse felt no pulse when she got to him. School staff used an AED to bring him back, and believe it or not, Charlie was back in class today. He was thanking everyone and remembering that life-changing moment.
I don't remember running around the track, but I remember when they were doing CPR, I felt like I was floating above everyone. Like I felt no emotion, but I knew the situation was going on, but I was above my body.
My goodness, doctors say Charlie had a sudden cardiac arrest. They don't know what caused it, and there's no family history of heart problems. He'll wear a pacemaker for the rest of his life. Hear more of his miraculous story coming up tonight at 11.
There are a million, in fact, millions of them, uninsured drivers on Florida's roads. So why are so many Floridians getting away with that, even though it's against the law? We'll have the story coming up next. Imagine losing a loved one in an auto accident and then finding out that the driver at fault did not have insurance. Well, Florida ranks 5th in the nation when it comes to the number of uninsured drivers. The Insurance Research Council estimates that 1 in every 4 drivers in Florida is driving without it. 8 on your side, Stacey Scheibel looks at why so many people are getting away with it.
I was working on a motorcycle in my shop, and a state policeman drove up to the driveway, and I said, this can't be good.
It wasn't. Larry Burnham's wife, Sandy, had just been killed in an accident. She was returning on her Harley from a women's motorcycle gathering in Reno, Nevada. The last time he spoke to her was that morning as she was leaving Tallahassee, headed home.
And she made it as far as Perry when a car pulled out of a gas station without looking and hit her virtually head on and killed her instantly.
Such unexpected pain and tragedy.
And we've been married for 35 years and looking forward to retirement together. And that was the end of that.
In the weeks that followed, Burnham learned the driver who struck and killed his wife was driving without insurance at the time. That's against the law in Florida.
After the accident, started looking into it, and, you know, why wasn't he off the road when he didn't have insurance?
It turns out Florida is top 5 in the nation when it comes to the number of uninsured drivers. And with 12 million registered vehicles in the Sunshine State, that means some 3 million drivers are thumbing their nose at the law and going uninsured anyway.
So do you think the Florida system is broken in this regard?
I think there's a loophole.
Tampa personal injury attorney David Bullock says that he sees it frequently. Insured drivers hit by uninsured drivers, despite the fact Florida requires people to provide proof of insurance when they register their car. The loophole he speaks of?
For a person to get in a car, they don't have to prove that they have all of the legally required insurance coverages. They just have to prove that they have personal injury protection and property damage.
They don't have to prove they have bodily injury coverage, which is what protects the other people if they get hit.
The law says they have to have it, but the problem is no one is checking.
Add to that what the DMV admits is an outdated computer system, one where the onus is on the insurance companies to report if someone drops their insurance or if their policy lapses.
The only thing they have to prove at the time is that at the day they applied for their vehicle registration or their license plate, they did have coverage on that day. Now, the next day, if they don't pay their premiums, if they cancel it, if it's non-renewed, whatever, there's really no way to check that until the person gets into an accident.
Larry Burnham knows that all too well.
You know, what's a life worth? You can't put a dollar value on it. The only thing he was charged was with reckless driving, and he got a 6-month suspension on license with a $1,000 fine.
And was that at all related to not being insured?
No, because there's virtually no justice for a life taken.
And further complicating things, it's up to the victim to get the uninsured driver's license revoked. That requires filing a lawsuit and getting a judgment, then providing that to the DMV. So it's a long and costly process involving court fees and attorney's fees, and many figure to what end?
Yeah, you have so many uninsured drivers out there. What can you do to protect yourself as a driver on the road?
Well, there is good news, because there is something you could do, because you can't control what other drivers do, only what you do, right? Mm-hmm. So that's why you have uninsured motorist coverage on your insurance policy. That way, if you are struck by somebody without insurance, your insurance will cover it. Now, that's not required. It's an optional coverage that you have to choose for yourself.
And you have to pay for it.
Correct. Mm-hmm. And by the way, the state DMV disputes the Insurance Research Council's estimate of 24% of drivers being uninsured. The DMV believes that number to be closer to 5 or 6%.
That's a big swing. Big difference.
A big swing.
All right. Thank you, Stacey.
Mm-hmm.
Well, today we topped out at 90 degrees, but if you're out on this beach, you're probably a little more pleasant there with the onshore flow, 83 degrees. You might be wondering, is this actually May? That's more June-like with temperatures like that, but it is May, and it was a warm day, and that is a nice view out at the beach. The start of summertime feels like it anyway. 34 days away to June 21st, the official first day. Usually the average high on that day is 90 degrees, and that is what we recorded today at Tampa International. That is also what we're forecasting for tomorrow. You can see Friday, Saturday, Sunday, bright red colors indicates warm temps. 84 degrees for the evening with a southwest wind at daybreak. 72, mostly sunny skies for the day. Partly cloudy skies for tomorrow. We think our rain chances are less than 10%. Very, very small. 90 degrees of current temps still at Tampa International. A little cooler in St. Petersburg thanks to a westerly wind there. The dew point a little higher, though. Higher humidity in St. Pete. 91 Plant City. Clearwater's 89. Bradenton 83. Northport 88. Upper 80s out in Sebring. Of course, Lakeland there. Also Inverness and Brooksville at 90 degrees. So it is a warm afternoon at most locations. Northport, too, will stay in the upper 80s for a short period of time. Area of low pressure across the central part of the country. Got some violent weather occurring around sections of Iowa and also in Minnesota. Supercell thunderstorms west of Mankato here and also right around south of Fort Dodge, Iowa, all moving toward the northeast with this tornado watch in place, meaning conditions are favorable. Farther south, severe thunderstorm watches for places like Dallas, Texas. Also across the peninsula, nothing going on. Just a few pop-up clouds. You can see them on our visible satellite imagery, these fair weather clouds popping up in the afternoon heat and humidity. A lot of this should dry up, though, because we have very dry air up above in the atmosphere. High pressure is the big feature off to our east, and that's what's sending in a light southeasterly flow, but light enough that we'll see a cooler sea breeze come into the beaches like we saw that the Los Dances are. Back to our west, we do have a cold front causing all that severe weather across parts of the Midwest, but that's going to stay to our north. Because of that feature, that ridge off to our east, that'll help to hold back that front. It will stay partly cloudy and warm throughout this period. We're not going to experience cooler, drier air. That front will dissipate farther to our north, will not affect our weather. We'll just stay on the warm side. 90 degrees for Friday, for Saturday, 88. Notice a slight rain chances here and a few more clouds in the afternoon, including for Mother's Day there. As we get into next week, our rain chances are a little higher at 20 and 30%, but still fairly low, which is what we expect this time of year. Again, the temperatures are warm, so a pop-up shower here or there, that kind of stuff can happen. So those are your plans, guys, for the weekend. Looks pretty good for Mom and for everybody else. Nice warm weather, probably a little bit warmer than we typically expect this time of year.
It just needs to be good for Mom, because if Mom's happy, everybody's happy. That's just the way it is.
That's the way it is in Gail's house, I know that.
Absolutely right about that.
Sports is coming your way next.
You are looking live high above Midtown Manhattan. It's the home of the NFL Draft. And in a little more than 2 hours, we'll know what the Bucs will do with that number 7 pick. Will they trade it? Will they use it? And if they use it, who will they take? Everyone has an opinion, including News Channel 8's Dan Lucas, who joins us live from the draft outside Radio City Music Hall. Hey, Dan.
Jason, we're packed in here tightly along the red carpet. We just had Blake Bortles come past us, the quarterback from UCF. Khalil Mack, the linebacker from Buffalo, is going to be one of these high picks that everybody's talking about. It's about 3 feet from me right now. He's talking and posing for pictures. It's a lot of fun. Who else we have coming down the row here? We got an offensive lineman coming down here, so the red carpet's in full swing. There's Khalil Mack. Let's try and get in here. Hey, talk to Tampa Bay, Khalil. Let's talk to Tampa.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. That's all he had to say. He had a great time talking to us, but Lovie Smith and Jason Light were talking about these great receivers, Sammy Watkins and Mike Evans at Texas A&M. Let's get their thoughts. One of these guys is probably going to be a Buccaneer tonight, probably.
For his explosive speed and the way he runs with anger when he has the ball in his hands, can make plays all over the field with his speed and quickness. He's got great hands, too. Mike Evans, great ball skills, size. He can run, too. It's deceptive. But just both of them unique in their own way.
We want to be a fast football team as much as anything, so we like athletic ability and a little bit of quickness and speed at every position, even the quarterback position. So we just want good football players as much as anything. Again, we feel like we have quite a few, and just want to add a couple more.
All right, Jason, over my shoulder here is Taylor Lewan. He's an offensive lineman from Michigan, and he's talking to the media here. So that's just how we do it here at the red carpet. They're coming by one at a time. We haven't seen Mike Evans yet. We'll try and grab him, and who knows? Maybe he could be a Buccaneer later tonight. But it's going to be a lot of fun. 8 o'clock draft start, and we'll see you live at 11 o'clock with reaction from who the Bucs pick. So you don't want to miss that. Jason, let's send it back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Dan. Nice work on the red carpet. Maybe next time ask who they're wearing. All right, make sure to tune in for our special 1-hour draft edition of Bucs Bonus this Saturday night. Dan and I will be live from One Buck Place. We'll break down the picks, talk one-on-one with Lovie Smith and Jason Light. It all starts at 7 o'clock on Saturday, right here on News Channel 8. Can't wait.
Yeah. And your pick is?
I'm going Mike Evans.
You are. Okay, there you go.
All right. No Manziel for you, huh?
No, I don't think so.
Not going to happen?
Not going to trade up for that one.
I like Dan on the red carpet. A little Sam Donaldson action, just screaming out questions.
I like that.
That's the news for now. Thanks for watching.
NBC Nightly News is next. We're back tonight at 11. We'll see you then.
Good night.
Good night.